Mic na to.
Mute ko na lang yung TV.
Ayan. Start na tayo. Dito tayo sa Excel file ko. Naririnig niyo na ako?
Yes po.
Yeah.
Okay. So, pag sinabing macro, diba sabi ng macro is recording siya ng mga basic actions or commands na ginagawa natin sa system natin. Basically sa Excel. So, whatever function na gawin natin sa Excel natin, i-record niya. Okay, pati yung specific cell reference, yung mga formulas, yung mga formatting, yung movements ng mouse, lahat yun, ika-capture ni macro. So, ang first thing na i-check natin is itong developer na tab. Normally kasi pag nag-open tayo ng Excel natin, yung tab na developer.
Sorry,
English,
ano pala?
English please, English please.
Ayan si PK te,
Pa-share
pa-English lang.
Oh, nosebleed. Patay na gid.
Paki-unshare nung dun sa Teams, paki-unshare tapos i-share mo ulit yung Excel. Kasi yung nakikita sa Teams yung yung Chrome.
Ayan.
Yun.
Tanggal na.
Mm.
So, balik na ako sa Excel. Ayan. Hi, PK. Wala naman siya dyan.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. You should not join. You know this already.
He doesn't want to join.
Gigising lang.
Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so yung
Share mo na ng screen, te.
English
sa
na,
Teams.
135.
sa Teams ulit?
English daw, English. Ate, English please.
English please. Na.
Baka nandyan din yung anak ni Tangkad.
Ayan.
Ayun.
Can you
Laban.
Can you share my... Hirap namang English.
You want the data you want?
It's okay. The simple data is enough. It's
Okay.
fine.
Ako hindi nakapaghanda, mag-i-English na siya.
Oo nga, I'm not ready, PK. I thought it will be Filipino community. Mapanosebleed ako direct. Sige. So,
You continue. I will see only. I'll see that.
You can see me?
Yeah, you continue. I will see. I'm saying.
Okay.
You
So,
can talk in Philippines.
As what I'm saying earlier, okay, ensure that this tab developer is visible in your ribbons, okay? Because normally, Excel will not show this particular tab. So, how you will make it visible, you have to go to File, and then click Options, then Customize Ribbons, and then tick this box in Developer. So, once you tick that, click OK, and then boom, it will show here. Okay, so that's the first thing you have to check, whether the developer tab is available or not. So how to
Available na. Ayun na, nagpa-follow. Sige po, continue.
Okay, so how to record the macro now is we have to click this button. There's a record button here. Okay, so once you click it, there's a dialog box that will come here. Okay, these are the fields that you have to fill up or fill out. Okay, so the macro name, by default it will show you the word macro, and the numerical number here is how many macros you have created in this particular workbook. But now we want to rename it. We want to give him a name so that next time it's easier for us to identify which macro is this for. So I'll make it as test macro. Okay? Sabihin nyo kung mabilis ha. And then, the shortcut key. This shortcut key, we can put any letters in this box from A to Z. But the problem is, in Excel, Control A to Z are already occupied. Means there are particular commands attached to those Control A to Z. So, how we will do now is, we should add Shift and then the letter. Okay, so you can click Shift and then since I'm Zen, so click Z. Here. So Shift Z. So you can see here, the shortcut key now become Control, Shift, and the Z. So what's the use of this? So next time that you want to run your macro, you just have to click Control Z. Okay, but I will show you how to create a control box later so that you don't need to use these shortcut keys. I'm just showing you how to create these shortcut keys. But
Ate, how to change the shortcut key into Control plus Shift?
you have to press Shift sabay. I mean, both you have
Mm.
to enter Shift Z.
Okay, done.
Okay. And then next field, this workbook where you store macro in. If you will see the drop down, personal macro workbook, new workbook, and this workbook. Honestly, I haven't tried these two options, this personal macro and new workbook. Normally, I'm doing it in this workbook because all the files are in this workbook. If you will save it in the other workbook, you might have this problem later on. So better save it in this workbook itself because you're working on this workbook. Okay? And then description, you can type whatever description that you wanted to type here for your, just a reminder or just a note that what kind of macro is this. So I'll just put basic macro tutorial. Okay, and then click OK. So an error came, right? Okay, so purposely I made this I make it with error. I mean purposely hirap na mag-English. Oy. Ayun, sinadya ko talaga. You just click this OK. In the macro name, okay? The macro name, there should not be any space. So remove the space. So take note that when you name your macro, it should be without space. Continuous. Okay? And then click OK. Oh. Sabi niya, there is already a macro assigned to that key. So yung shift, control shift Z, nagamit ko na siya. So I will just change it into X. Okay? X. Then okay. Yung name naman, meron na rin akong Excel macro, test macro already exists. Okay, I will just change the name later on. Okay? That is just the workbook name. So now we will start recording our macro. So what step we have to do now is, I'll just show you some basic step. Formatting, for format color. This is green, I'll make it yellow. Okay. And this one, I'll make it, this is alphabet. Okay, I'll make it A, B. Okay, so A, B, A, B, A, B up to the last. So it was numerical earlier. I changed it to number. And then, what else? So in this column B, I want to sort it alphabetically. So we'll just highlight the full column, data, then sort, the name student, name of student. I think it's already sorted earlier. Okay, but I did the sorting. And then here, there's a formula 1 plus 1. So I'll change the formula to 5, 5 plus 5. Then enter. So when you're putting a formula, you can just, if there's a formula available there, if your formula is so long, what you can do is you just press F2, okay? F2, and then copy that particular formula. F2 and then enter. And then that particular formula will be read by macro. Okay? And then copy this formula, go to the, you want to copy this formula till the last row, right? So we'll just copy from row 3 till down. So all became 10. So those are the things that we have recorded. So first is we format the heading. Second is we change the number into alphabet. I mean A, B, A, B. The third action that we did is we sort column B. Then next is we made the formula in column F. Then I'll put my cursor in H1. I'll change it into yellow. Okay. Then after recording, you can click this stop recording button here on top or down. Okay, there are two options to stop your macro, your recording, down or up. Now I will stop. Okay, so those are the steps that we have done. So we have recorded our macro. So I'll show you now. I'll just undo all the things that we have done. Then we will run our macro. Yeah. So these are the original formatting and information in our table earlier. So now we will run our macro. Let's go to macros. Okay, so in this field, it will show you all the macros that you have recorded. Because sometimes we can record multiple macros in a particular workbook. If you want to clean up the data before putting another data, because in SAP we have to download the data or some other sources. We will export data and then copy it here. If you don't like the previous data, you can create a new macro to delete the data. Instead of you doing it manually daily, you can just create a simple macro, cleanup macro to clear all the data in that particular sheet. Okay, so this is the macro that we created, test macro. So let's go into it. Let's go inside the script so that you will see that whatever we have done earlier will appear in the script. Okay, step into. Yeah. So, remember
Ate,
we have,
pa-minimize pala sandali nung ano. Yung sa stream kasi sa YouTube, nakikita ako. I-minimize mo
ayan,
lang yung mukha ko. Ayun.
ayun.
Thank you. Yun
Sige,
lang.
sige,
Sige po.
welcome.
Continue.
Ayun. So, remember earlier in that name of the macro, we have type test macro. So, this is the name of the macro. At the same time, it will be written here. Okay? And the description, this is the description that we have typed earlier. And the shortcut key, keyboard shortcut key, it's Control X na lang. Wala na yung shift. Tinanggal ko yata yung shift kanina. Okay, and then these are the actions made by macro. So these are technical, but you'll be able to understand it later on once you keep on doing macro. So this green single quotation here, okay, ano ang tawag dito? Ano ang tawag dyan? Kalimutan ko na. Basta to, single quotation here, what it represents is it's telling the macro not to perform that particular action. And the color of this text will be in green. So whenever the text here is in green and there's a single quotation mark here, means the macro will not read it. So when you run your macro, whatever is in green, it will not perform. Okay, so let's try to understand one by one what we have recorded. So first is, I'll just minimize this so that you will see. Okay.
Ate,
Ah,
yung sa Teams, i-unshare mo tapos i-share mo yung buong desktop kasi sa Teams, yung Excel lang yung nakikita, hindi yung ano, hindi yung Visual Basic.
ay ganun.
Although
So,
sa YouTube, okay naman siya.
anong gagawin ko?
I-unshare mo dito sa Teams tapos i-share mo ulit tapos yung gamitin mo yung desktop screen number 1.
Desktop screen. Okay. And sa 19 screen. On screen. And screen. Asan ang
Yun nasa pinaka-left. Under, may mga
desktop?
categories yun eh.
Ito,
Yung
desktop.
desktop talaga.
Yan.
Doon. Yun, okay
Yan.
po.
Kita na.
Continue.
So, again, i-open ko yung macro. Okay, pumunta ako dun I went to the tab macros. Okay, and then choose the macro that you have created. And then just put here this workbook so that it will not create issue in some other workbook. Okay, so test macro, you have to highlight test macro. Then step into. So can you see now my VBA script?
Yes po.
Ayan. So, these are the details that we filled out earlier. So, the name of the macro, the description, the control. Okay, the shortcut key. So, whenever it's green in green color and there's a single quotation here, it means macro will not record it, or uh, the actions will not be performed by macro. Okay. So, I'll just minimize my VBA script. So I can show you. Okay, we will read the script slowly. Okay, so to understand what we have done. So first is we went to range F4. Okay, so these are the movements of my mouse only. So F4, my mouse was here earlier. My mouse was in F4. Okay, and then scroll down, and then I went to A1, F1. So what I did is from F4, I scroll my mouse and went to A1 to F1. Okay, and then what it did, it changed the color. See the color here? Pattern color index. And then end with. So every action will this end with will come here. So that's the first action that we did, coloring. And then the next action is we went to BC. B6. Where's B6? Here. So I think it's a movement of my mouse again. Scroll. You can see scroll. As what I've said, the movement of the mouse will be recorded. But these things you can deactivate it. It's not necessary. Okay? So that's how to deactivate. You just put a single quotation mark there. And then we went to A2. This A2. Okay? And then I type A, and then in A3, B. And then I autofill it till row 28. Then I scroll again my mouse. I went to, I highlighted the full column A to F. Then we did the sorting. Okay, these are the sorting we did. So these things macro will record. We will not be able to, if we are good in script writing, then we can do this manually inside the script. But since I think all of us are not also good in uh, writing script, so might as well record it through the record macro, and then we will try to understand it inside. So the recording happened there and with. Okay, so the sorting, I mean. And then F2. Then we went to F2. We created the formula 5 plus 5. And again, I did it 5 plus 5. And then I copy, okay, F2 and then copy. Then I went to F3, and then we scroll down till the last cell and then paste. Okay, and then what's the last action? I scroll down again, I went to H1 and then change the color. Then end with. So ensure that this end sub here is available. It should be there in your recording, because sometimes we might tend to delete this particular word, end space sub. Okay, so your macro should always start with sub space, and then the title of your macro, and then open and close parenthesis, and should end with end sub. It means you are ending the sub that you created on the start. So now we will try to run our macro. Okay. Macros, then run macro. So you see how the macro uh, done the actions, executed the actions that we have created. So any question on that part? Hello?
So when running the macros, it means it, if you will have to, for example, in the worksheet or in the sheet that you're running the macro, let's say you added another column and that rating column will be in column G instead.
Okay.
So the macro will not work.
It will write, as long as you're still recording it.
No, I mean, because you already recorded the macro.
Okay.
Now, you forgot that, for example, in the workbook that you're trying to run the recorded macro, you
Mm-hmm.
added another column. For example, another column maybe
Here,
last name. Yeah, you put another one. Then
okay.
you run the macro. Will it still work?
It will do whatever actions that we have done only. So we color up to F only, so it will color the macro will only color
Mm,
up to F. It will not
mm.
the
Go
action
to
will
column G.
yes, it will not extend to column G because in the script, okay, we go back to the script, it's specified there in the script, it's specific.
Mm.
So whatever cells that you have mentioned here, the macro will run on that particular cell only. So we don't have
Wow.
any column G here, and we don't have any row 29. So all the actions will be done in up to row 28 only. If you want to
Okay.
add that,
So the script is like absolute. It's not going to be adjusted based on changes, and unless you are recording the macro with changes.
yes, yes, you have to record again.
Okay.
Or
Okay po.
if you want, you can record a separate macro and you can add on the old macro.
Mm.
So example this, okay. I'll record a new macro, macro 2, and then insert a new column, and then stop. Okay, then go to macros. Now we have two macros here. We'll go
Mm.
to the main macro. This is our main macro, and this is the new macro that we have created. Insert macro. This is insert the shift to the right. Okay?
Mm.
But you have to mention which column it is. So which column we did earlier? Where's the column here earlier that we did? A to F, this one. Copy this. You have to specify the column. So column F, like that. Because if you will not put this column F here, um, the insert column will be inserted wherever your cursor will be. What I mean is,
Mm.
okay, I'll deactivate that, okay, and then we'll try to run, okay. Because the last action of the macro in the previous macro is the cursor is in H1, right? So since
Mm.
we have not mentioned which column it will insert, it will add another column. The column will be added here in H. So let's see.
Mm.
Run macro. This color move to
Mm.
letter I.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's very important that you have to tell the macro. You have to do this action in this particular columns or rows or particular cell. It's very specific. Okay. So any more doubts? Ate, nandiyan ka pa? Wala na si ate.
Natulog na. Eh,
Si Ate Joyce andyan din.
Oh,
Hi, Ate
Joyce.
Zen!
Hello.
Ba
Naku nga
nagpipigla
ba?
ata ng-
Parang sinik lang
Yes
estudyante to.
po.
Babaan mo, te.
Ha? O alam mo
Babaan mo,
na.
May.
mag-join.
Si
Oh,
May, saan pala si May?
Nagluto?
O may question?
Ang galing mo, te. Hindi ko
Hmm.
alam kung kakayanin ko yung kasimpleng yan.
Ano yun?
Oy, kayang-kaya mo yan.
Kaya mo
Kaya
yan.
mo nga yan. Mas mahirap pa yung mag-handle ng cheque.
Oo nga. Mahirap yung mag-check-check.
Kaya yan, te. Gora lang.
O, Gora. So, ngayon naman, doon tayo sa, pag hindi mo tanong sundan, Cecil, meron akong, yung basic lang na, ni-record ko na, so balikan mo na lang doon sa channel ko.
Yes, te.
Okay.
Thanks.
So, ngayon, yung tanong ni
Okay.
Nick, paano mag-insert ng control box? Na hindi na natin kailangan gamitin yung shortcut
Run.
keys. Kasi nga,
Ayun, okay.
sa dami ng ginagawa natin, makakalimutan natin. Password nga, nakakalimutan ko eh. So, we have to create, we can put the control box here in in our worksheet itself, or we can do it on the other sheet. Okay, i-hide natin siya. Let's hide it here on the other sheet. Okay, you can rename it as you want. Okay, control button. Because if you have created multiple macros in this sheet, at least you will have a control button wherein you will just click that. Okay,
But that control button will can trigger multiple macros or one control button per macro.
one control button per macro. You have to
Ah,
assign a particular macro on that.
mm-mm.
But if that particular macro, because macros can be connected also, you can call
Mm.
another macro through the main macro.
Okay.
But
So
I will
in
show
that
you.
way, we can trigger multiple macros in one
Yes,
control button.
correct,
Okay.
correct. So how to insert that is, go to the developer again, and then insert this one, this insert tab, and then in the control form controls here. So you can choose anyone here. I normally use this rectangle here. Okay. And then drag it and then click the particular macro that you will assign. So I will assign this test macro and then okay. Or you can just right click, then assign macro, test macro. Okay. Then you can change the name also. So this is test.
Ayuda. Ayuda calculation.
Anong ayuda? Ano nangyari? May namimigay na ayuda, pahingi.
Oh.
Edit text.
Student yan, di ba? Hindi naman yun ayuda, grabe ka.
Yung
Sige.
alin,
Bakuna calculation.
COVID vaccine.
ayan, so nilagyan ko na siya ng name. Eh, ba't ko ba siya dito nilagay? Ilagay ko doon siya. I'll put it on the other side, okay? And just cut. What's happening to my system? So cut it and then put it on the other sheet. Yeah. So your control box is here now in the control button. It's not here now. At least your working file will not be disturbed. Key. So you want us to try? I'll put this in. Okay. I'll remove the column. Okay. So through the control button, I'll just run the macro. Debug. Why? Because we have not put the name of the worksheet. Okay. Remember when we recorded, we're just recording on the same sheet. Okay, in the
Same
data sheet.
worksheet.
Okay, so you have to name your sheet as well. So how to name that? So sheets, hindi ako nagmumura ha, sheets. Then open parenthesis and then quotation mark, and then what's the name of the sheet? It's data. Then close it with a quotation mark. Dot select. So the macro, now the macro knows that it will go to sheet data. Okay. See, it perform here. When I run the macro, it perform in this particular sheet because we have not named our sheet, particular sheet. So again, I will run it. So till the recording, I mean, inserting of the column is there now.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sana all.
Sana. Ay, kita nyo ba pa ako? Tinataas-taas ko na. Sorry.
Sana all.
Sana all. Ayan. So, is it clear?
Yes,
Clear.
teacher.
Okay. Ano nangyari?
Yes, ma'am.
O baka may tanong, Ses. Para magawa
Te, kaya ko
mo.
yan, te. Kaya ko yan. Tiwala lang.
Wala lang.
Mm-mm.
Joyce, okay, naintindihan mo, Joyce? O alam mo na?
Kajo-join ko lang, te. Sorry. Part 2.
Part
Mag-subscribe.
Nagtimpla pa
Ate
kasi si ate
Lenny.
ng
Yung si
gatas.
Ate Lenny. Ano ba?
Ate
Nasaan na si
Lenny,
ate?
asan ka pa? Andiyan ka pa?
Ah,
Ayan.
dito ako. Maghihintay na lang ng replay.
Ah, replay. So, okay na, na.
Oo, si ate. Recorded naman
Ikaw
yan.
na, te?
Recorded naman to.
Oh, hindi. Ay, sa YouTube.
Sa YouTube. O, nakano rin naman ako sa YouTube.
O, lahat ng
Ano
Ayan,
yan,
ginawa
okay.
record
natin.
ito ni Gandara sa team. So,
Ano
laban
record niya?
lang.
Yeah, I recorded.
Patay
It's
na, pati daldalan natin naka-record.
Yun. Yun yung basic, no? At least ano naman siya, I think the takeaway for this tutorial is that first is macro. Aside from the automation itself, it means that whatever is in the script is like absolute.
Yes.
So unlike doing whatever functions in Excel itself, sometimes like for the formulas, if you will add a column or format something, then the Excels the other cells will adjust the formulas.
Yes.
But in the case of macros, whatever is stipulated as to cell, formatting, rows, sheet, and whatever, it is absolute.
Correct.
So you need to um, clearly stipulate what you need to, what action that is needed to be taken.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes,
Yun.
yes. Perfect. And then last na lang, at least you can try doing it in your files. Remember, I put a formula here in F2. So
yeah,
sometimes
5 plus 5.
fine. So yung formula na to, when you copy a particular formula and you want to copy it till the other lines, okay, I will show you how to capture the active cell. Because as what Nick have said, the actions, the cells, the columns, and whatever destination or whatever locations that we have told the Excel, the macro, it will perform on that this particular cell
Cell only.
only. Yeah. What if, okay, what if I'll add two more here? Two more lines here. So there we have told him that you copy only the formula up to row 28. Okay. So what we can do is we have to tell the macro that you have to copy the formula till the last active cell. So
Mm.
you have to find out which column has the last active cell. So in this case, A to E, they are same. Okay, the last active cell is line 30. Okay, but if in case these two doesn't have, okay, and only A has, okay, so our active cell, you can base your active cell either from column A or column B because they have the full data till the last line. So how to set the active cell now? So first is I'll show you how I'm doing it when I'm starting macro. So you can tell the macro to please uh, find out up to what line or what cell is active or has data. So we'll again record a macro, small macro only. So go to the first line or after the header, go to the next line or line 2, then control arrow down. So now we're telling the macro that the last line is in line 30. Okay, then stop the macro. We'll go to the main macro. Okay, where is that macro that we did this one? Okay,
Mm. Range. Okay.
so we will copy this small macro there and we will put on the beginning of our script. Okay, then we will tell him that we'll represent it with the letter. So for now I will represent it with letter A. So we will tell him that A is equal to active cell dot row. So whatever is active in column B till the last line, I will capture it when I perform the operation. So when is that? This one, no? A2 to A28. So how to fix now the range? We can just put A2 to A. Just A now. Okay, don't put the last line. And then tell him and A. That A is the last row, the active cell. Like that. Okay. And the other one also, the one with formula. Here we did not specify here because I dragged the formula earlier.
Mm.
But if you want to put it here, so we copied here, no, right? F2 copy, then F3, then colon up to F and A. So that's how we are fixing the range of the active cell. This is very important because whenever
Mm.
you're copying a data from, you're copying a formula or formatting from line 1 till the last line, you have to fix the range. Otherwise, it will copy only till the last row that you have recorded.
So this will be very helpful, especially in if in dynamic data, where, for example, every day, like in Cecil's case, um, in the Excel, today she might have a record of 50 checks, then tomorrow another 20, then the next day additional uh, lines will be
Yes,
there. So adjust to the additional because of this script.
correct, correct. So if you can see on the macros that I've created before, all will have this beginning macro. I'm setting the active cell. This is very
Mm.
important. So any more questions,
Okay.
kids? Kids.
Tanungin niyo muna kung nandyan si Pratamish. Hirap na hirap tayo mag-English. Baka wala naman dyan.
Oo nga. PK, you're still here? You're still there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm
So,
listening.
There.
am I
Why
talk?
no camera? Kya hi
So
eh.
Hey,
you can tell your inputs, ha, Prathamesh, based on your
yeah, yeah,
experience. I know you have idea also on how to do macro, so you can share your knowledge.
yeah. I'll share you one file. There is I have to do more on that, but then later that is.
Okay. So next time I will tell you some other, or just share me or tell me what action you want to perform. Then I will help you next time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.